So before I get started, and I want to I just want to let you know who I am. So I'm Steve Pavlovsky. I have led the Proficy portfolio for the last 4 years. Actually, next Tuesday would be my 40th anniversary with GE, always in the software and industrial automation space. So helping industrial customers and manufacturing customers make sense of their data is kind of like, that's been my whole career. I was the first application engineer in GE at the time when we launched our other HMI SCADA platform, Simplicity. Working with automotive customers, we built a solution based on Microvax computers from Digital Equipment. So, like, been doing this a very long time. And I can't, you know, people ask me, are you sad, right, about this change, right? You've spent 40 years at GE. I am so happy about being part of Velotic, because what Velotic is at its core is a very strong company, absolutely focused on industrial software. That is all we will do. That is our mission. As I was part of GE, I was part of a whole variety of GE structures. I was part of Home and Business Solutions. I was part of GE Power, Power and Water. All of those businesses, we were a small piece. We weren't what was important. And that's true also with, over the last several years with the my colleagues from the ThingWorx and Kepware side of PTC that have come together with us. They were not the focus of PTC. So now what we have is a company structure absolutely focused on building the best software to serve you. That is what makes me really excited to be part of this journey. So I hope we earn that trust and that excitement within you. That's our job, is to earn that. But I couldn't be more happy with the transition and with what's ahead of us. Safe harbor, this will work for the day, right? We will show you things that are not yet released. If you're making buying decisions, please make sure we have follow-on conversations, because obviously, plans can change here and there. Okay. Look, so at our core, right, Velotic is about, and I loved your phrase, right? You're talking, Novotek, about being sort of that data plumbing, right? It's a critical piece of what we do. Your operators, your line supervisors, your plant managers can't make decisions without the data. And whether that's the collection of the data, the processing of that data, the generating alarms on that data, the visualization of that data, the reporting of that data, now analytics on that data, and now actions driven by AI inferences, it's all about that data. And so that's what we are. And when you think about that portfolio, the portfolio today, which includes, and I'll do a bit of a marketecture slide at the end of this section, but it includes the world's leading data collection infrastructure for industrial use cases, Kepware, right? Fabulous data storage and manipulation and reporting, or data storage capacity through our Proficy Historian. Visualization tools from Operations Hub to ThingWorx. Machine learning analytics. SCADA systems for your operators, and MES and scheduling capability. Everything that we do is about how do we turn the data coming from your factory and industrial operations floor into information and insights that your people can take better action on. We're now a scaled company, right? 1,200 employees around the globe. 20,000 customers, $350 million in revenue. We are one of the premier standalone industrial software companies in the world, right? We are not affiliated with a control platform. We are open. We work across all of your infrastructure, right? And that's important to us. That's an important piece of what we do. We work across industries, discrete, hybrid, and process. We've got 750 global integration partners and channel partners to help serve you and serve your operations no matter where they are. This is a significant entity purely focused on industrial software, helping you make your operations better. with those three key parts of the portfolio: Kepware, the Proficy Operational Suite, and ThingWorx. Okay? So our mission, right, is to help our industrial customers prosper by equipping them with the data that they need to operate their plants efficiently. That's what we do. That's all we do. We're not distracted by anything else. It's all we do. And why is this important? Like, especially, I mean, as I look at my career, right, I started when HMI SCADA was nascent, right? Before, I mean, iFix, right, we're at, let's say, we launched Simplicity in 1989, so that's 35 years ago. iFix's history is a few years older than that, right? So, Novotek is 40, right? We've sort of grown up together. That was sort of the beginning of information technology in the factory floor, right? Then you had waves of ERP, you had waves, MES became a thing. You had edge to cloud and edge computing, right? And now we're living in the world of AI. It's such an interesting journey, right? And so now when we think about, how do you, maybe not today, but maybe today you're starting to think about how are you going to use AI to improve your operations. If you're not thinking about it today, you'll be thinking about it next year, right? You'll be working towards that, right? It's going to come. Your competitors are going to be using it. Your employees are going to expect it, right? So to do AI, you have to have that data infrastructure. You have to have data that's been collected, put in context, and made available. And you have to then have an AI framework that's going to allow you to build those AI models that are important for your application and your bespoke business needs, but you also need from us a platform that provides you that integrated data infrastructure and AI management plane. And so that's about, that's a big piece of what we're about. So we also know our customers face challenges in terms of, maybe it's not true here, right? But I travel the world and I talk to customers all over the world. Many of our biggest customers are facing challenges of not being able to hire enough people into the manufacturing space. They see AI, and actually agentic AI, which is that next wave, right, of helping them continue to produce, continue to increase production with fewer and fewer people. Not because they want fewer people, but because they can't hire enough people. So for them, they're starting to think about this technology as protecting their business operations, as necessary for them to continue. Okay? And so that's, that's where we come in. So I think but we're not about rushing to automating decisions based on AI. We know you in this room, your operators, your line supervisors understand your processes, your equipment, right? But what we can do is bring new insights, new correlations that you could not get as a human. Like, we just can't necessarily discern the patterns. And so we have this notion of working towards autonomous operations where that makes sense, but combining that with humans for augmented operations. That's where we see most of our customers are today. They want to enable the people within their operations with new data, new insights, so they can make better decisions. That's really, this is our focus today. And I love this, right? Artificial intelligence plus authentic intelligence. Authentic intelligence is what you bring, what your operators bring, the knowledge that they have, right? It's the real world experience combined with new insights from data that you as humans can't do on your own. And so I've got a few slides here like this. These are sort of just kind of how we think about this, right? Our job is to help you with data through clarity and insight, transform in your industrial operations. We see this as giving you the tools to strategically change your operations and become better, more competitive. Your people will be able to have better foresight, see what's going to happen, take action against what's going to happen. That's been the promise of ML in the plants for 20 years, right? We've owned C-Sense for nearly that long. It's been too hard. You've had to have too much expertise to use some of these technologies to build up models for your own businesses. Part of what Gen AI, turning to agentic AI, will bring is the ability to build AI models by posing a question. That if you think about what Gen AI is in your day, like I use it for emails, I use it for PowerPoints, right? It generates text. Well, code is text, right? So if you can ask a question and say, I want to build a machine learning model, here's my data set, right? It will help build machine learning models that are going to help create this. Our vision here is how do we make the technology such that a broader set of you and your employees can use the technology to drive foresight and new insights, right? How do we help you address those inefficiencies? Understand what's coming, understand the inefficiencies that you have, whether they be process inefficiencies or physical process or people process inefficiencies, and work towards solving for those. How do we help you be more lean in terms of your use of natural resources, right? We have built analytics that help customers understand when they produce this product on this production line, what was their best, when did they use the least natural resources? And if they're not using that level, if they're using more natural resources today, what's the likely cause, right? We see that as critical both in terms of an efficiency, there's a cost to using those natural resources, but there's also an impact to the globe, right, in terms of wasting those natural resources. So we see that as an important challenge that we can help you with. And all driven by data, optimized by insights, but controlled by you and your people. It's the combination of your people, your expertise. You are the subject matters of your businesses. We want to give you better data to make better decisions. And this is really what Velotic brings today, right? You've got an infrastructure full of equipment producing streams of sensor data, most of which you can't create any value from, right? We've got world-class operational systems and data collection between Kepware and Proficy, right? Collecting that data, visualizing that data, historizing that data, doing world-class scheduling on how you're going to optimize your production, tracking, interacting with that data from an alarming and machine control perspective, and executing with quality and efficiency. Like, that's the core of sort of the Proficy and Kepware heritage. And then how do we layer on top of that, take the ThingWorx visualization and what was IoT in the before, and now the market is shifting to AIoT, right? Bringing in AI capabilities on top of all of that data being produced by the operational systems. And so we see like there's a technology layer, but then we're going to start to build applications and assistance that will help you accelerate your journey. Assembly operations is a new solution that we're building for customers that are doing high-speed repetitive manufacturing, right? We do in our MES space, both within the ThingWorx space and within the Proficy, we have solutions for slower speed discrete assembly. We have applications for process and batch, but we didn't have a solution for whether it be people doing automobile engines, whether it be customers doing, it could be ag equipment, it could be appliances. We did not have solution for high-speed assembly, so we're building that. We have a connected worker solution within the ThingWorx platform today focused on enabling and then how do we take that forward. You're going to see a demo here. We call it SCAD AI here. You're going to see the last demo of the day is really the future of how we're going to bring AI to your operational floor, right? And so stick through the day because I think you're going to be really excited about what you're seeing that will be delivered to you later this year, okay? How do we do asset monitoring and alarm and event analysis? You'll see that as well. Think about the flood of alarms that your customers or your users see sometimes. Well, we have multiple ways of doing analytics on your alarms, giving you insight into what's the root cause. What was the real upstream problem that then perhaps cascaded into 20 or 30 alarms downstream? And then what to do about it. Okay? Production data recorder, how do we take the notion of what historian is and expand it to map to other data sets so that you've got a single mechanism by which you're seeing your process data, but perhaps also your quality data, your production data, right? And then on the right, there's a Velo Assistant, and you're going to see some examples. There's some branding yet, happening, but the Velo Assistant is really a consolidated framework in which we will host Gen AI and Agentic AI tools that we build and that you can build, or your integrators can build, right? That will support your business operations. And then the app tailor, as I think about our investments in AI, there's really three key themes that we're driving. New insight to the data, that's clear, right? There's a vast amount of value we can deliver through those new insights. But there's a front end and a back end. How do we help you configure and deploy? Frankly, I challenge my team, how are we going to use Agentic AI and Gen AI tools that understand our systems, understand our configuration, where you can basically tell a platform, oh, here's all the tags in my PLC. Discern what the model should be. You've got SCADA systems that have been out there for years, right? Flat tag-based systems. Nobody wants to spend the time to put a model context on top of that data. Well, I want you to spend 10 minutes. I want you to be able to use an AI tool to discern what that model should look like, create the context for that data, because now that data gives you more value, right? Or I have a production line. I have the Proficy MES system. I need to add a new machine. Like, you should be able to ask, and it should happen, right? So AI for the reduction of configuration and development time, and you're going to see some of that today, right? And then at the end, how do we use AI-based tools to help manage these systems? So with Historian 2026, and you'll see some screenshots, and I'll talk a little bit about, we're starting to use Agentic AI to monitor the performance of our Historian and tell you, hey, here are things that you could change. Or do you want to automatically make configuration changes to deliver better performance or better reliability? Like, those are the three in my vectors for me in terms of how we're planning to use AI, to infuse AI into the products that will help you get better results, right? So kind of in closing, right, we are building now one integrated portfolio composed of world-class elements. We have work to do, right? Our CEO, Brian Shepard, who is he's a fabulous leader because in this new company, he has a 30-year history in this space. He spent 20 years at PTC. He led Rockwell Software, right? He was at Octagon, right? This is the space that he also loves and has grown up in software supporting industrial users. So, he has this vision of and description to us, right? Engineered to work better together. World-class standalone products, but when used in concert, delivering more value. Okay. So, ThingWorx, AIoT platform, Proficy operational systems, inclusive of iFix and Operations Hub and tools that you're using, Historian that you're using today, and Kepware, world-leading infrastructure data collection from the factory floor. That's the Velotic portfolio today, fully focused on helping you with your digital transformation journeys and delivering increased performance of your industrial operations. So that's that. Any questions on sort of Velotic and its mission before we kind of get into sort of the future of what's coming in later this summer with iFix and Historian? Does it sound like an exciting journey? Does it sound like, yeah, please. Wait, I'm going to ask you to wait. We're recording, and so we would want to use the microphone so people can, in the room and on the recording, can hear.
It's maybe not much about the mission, but when it's an integrated suite of software, the data exchange between these components is going to be some type of standard, or it's going to be different from each component, or are you?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I have a few slides later in the second session, but let me address it now. There's both sort of configuration and model context that needs to get shared across the portfolio, and then there's the data flows, internal to the portfolio and outside of the portfolio. So we, on the Proficy side, had been investing in the last year and a half in a solution which we called Data Hub. And for us, Data Hub allowed us to publish any models that customers had built in a given product, let's say in the MES or in the SCADA, into Data Hub. And so Data Hub would become kind of the master repository of the models for the Proficy suite. Data Hub will have a data directory, it'll have unified namespace capability, and it will have a data fabric. So that would allow both external applications to query for the model context, what data is available in that model context, and for data. And because we provide a directory service, you could either go to the source systems for the data, and because we provide a data fabric, you'd be able to query through the data fabric and let Data Hub go get the data from the source systems. Like, that was our vision here. Effectively a data ops platform where the model infrastructure was not a separate and distinct model, it was really part of the product configuration. And so it was always going to be maintained sort of as these systems are living systems, right? As you add a new machine, you add new sensors, right? They would be added into the model because it's coming in through the configuration of the SCADA or from the MES. And so that data would immediately become available without having to do extra mapping outside of the portfolio. Well, now we've got two new parts of the portfolio, right? We have ThingWorx, which has a model infrastructure, has some data interaction between Kepware and ThingWorx, and we have the Proficy suite. We have natural connectivity today. I mean, Kepware is our IGS, right, and with a different licensing model, but underlying technologies largely the same. There's some capabilities in Kepware as sold under that brand that we don't have in IGS in terms of redundancy in some of the protocols. And so I don't actually have the exact answer to your question, right? We're a month into this, or 5 weeks into this. I spent a week here. We spent a week 3 weeks ago in Orlando. Every other week we've been meeting, like, people from around the world converging on how are we going to do this. I fly home tonight. Sunday I leave. I go to Foxborough, Massachusetts. We bring that team back together. We bring 50 people together from our engineering and product teams to be working on that problem. How are we going to do this? We will come out of that week with the how. We'll bring in the engineering leaders. We'll have a good vision. Then they'll go back for a month or 3 weeks and figure out, okay, what's it going to take to do? But being part of Velotic, and I didn't talk about who owns Velotic, right? Velotic is owned by a private equity firm, TPG Partners. Part of them standing up this business is an infusion of investment. So they want this as well. They see us, investing over the next year and a half heavily to bring this engineered to work together better solution. And so we will have the resources to actually make what we think needs to happen, which has not been the case as we lived in our former parent companies. So that's another piece of why this is so exciting to me, is new not only focus, but investment? Wonderful question. Thank you.